As a child of the 80s, I grew up during a huge turning point for computers. PCs were going from cold green phosphorus office machines or incompatible toys like the ZX Spectrum, Atari 800, Commodore 64 to more unified architecture known as the IBM Compatible, and this would allow for an entirely new kind of personal computer. As a child, I witnessed this in real time. I was always fascinated by personal computers and was always being told by grown-ups and teachers to keep my grubby hands off of them. Whether I saw one in a school library or at my uncle's house, I always had to get on there and play. But fast forward to the early 90s and my family finally did get an 386 computer, and I was really starting to grasp the scope of what was going on. Computers were the future, and I was watching technology expand at an explosive rate. The internet was really starting to get going, and I remember buying a 14K modem for a 386 at a PC hardware flea market and being so excited that we'd finally get on the internet, only to find out that our 386 was essentially too slow to browse the internet in 1996. That's when my dad brought home my second PC, a used Packard Bell Legend 108 CDT Supreme. I didn't even know it was called that until I was researching this video. It sounds like some sort of MSI NVIDIA 3000 card or maybe a Taco Bell menu item. But anyways, this PC was so much more than the 386. It was a Pentium 75mhz, 16 megabytes of RAM, Windows 95, and I could finally start looking for porn on Lycos. Anyways, I bring all this up because I got to experience my 12-year-old childhood again with the subject of today's video. No, not the Packard Bell Legend Supreme, but an equally cool contemporary. The first IBM Aptiva. Yes, this absolute legend of a system showed up for sale in my hometown, complete, looking brand new, and I happened to see this listing about 6 hours after it was posted. The craziest thing is the girl only wanted $20 for it. Of course, I jumped at the chance to get this system. However, I was immediately met with a reply that the girl was selling it already and had been contacted by several other people. I quickly offered her $50. However, she said she'd already been offered more, of course, and I just thought at this point, well, if I'm not going to get it, I might as well let her know that this thing might be worth like $500 on eBay these days. Live and let learn. I thought it was almost worth nothing, was her reply. So how did I end up with this PC in my office? Well, I happened to post some advertising for my local PC repair business that week, and a day or two after the Aptiva was posted, I got a message from the buyer of the IBM Aptiva asking me if I could help him put Windows 95 on it. What are the chances? I'll actually get to play with this PC and I don't have to pay for it? I obviously accepted with the condition that I could do a video on this 75 megahertz beast. And he dropped it off, near complete system. Had the base tower, the monitor, the keyboard, the mouse, the stereotypical bag full of compact discs and manuals and, floppy disks. It was dirty, but it was in pristine condition. My only mission, to clean it out and install Windows 95 and some games on it. I never thought it would take me almost 4 days of work. Hi there! Original IBM Aptiva. I'm Timmy Joe, and I thought I'd do a little bit of a different video here. I started off doing an intro saying I'm gonna fix this computer, filmed me fixing the computer, and then it was 4 days later and I realized I wanted to do it differently. it was gonna be a boring video. We don't need another 95 install video on the internet, but I thought I'd do a retrospective, a kind of time machine, because this has been a time machine for me. Working on a 75 megahertz computer from the Windows 95 era, installing Windows 95 on it. I know that's 98, we'll get to that. But doing all that stuff, installing the wrong driver and have Windows 95 brick itself and the autoexec bat file be all screwed up, and having to go in there and config sys and fix that stuff, and then maybe having to format the whole Windows 95 install just for doing one little thing wrong. Yeah, that's where I was at this week, trying to get this thing running. I thought it was going to be like a quick day-long video. No. But we're here, and this is some super nostalgia for me. So we have the original IBM Aptiva. This is the model number 2144-S15, and it is complete, essentially, Only thing that's missing is the speakers. We got the original ball mouse, the original keyboard, the original tower, or I don't know what you would call it when it's on its side like this. The original monitor, it's a 15RMS with 1280 by 1024 max resolution with a really bad refresh rate. But we're running 800 by 600 here. And it's running awesome. It's complete. It's done. It's all cleaned up. And I thought I'd backtrack a little bit and kind of explain how I got here. And then we'll play some games on it. And we'll have some fun and run some software. Like I got Napster on this thing. I know that doesn't make sense. I honestly have Napster on this thing. I have Winamp on this thing. That's how cool this is. So check it out. So real quick, guy brings it over. Edwin, real nice guy. He bought it for I think $300, not the $20 she was asking for, unfortunately. But I think it's worth closer to like $600 with all the peripherals and stuff like this to the right buyer. Because I saw like just the tower for $500 US on eBay, so pretty cool stuff. But he had all the original discs and stuff. It was blank when he got it. He had loaded up DOS 6.2 and Windows 3.1, but couldn't get anything else on it because there's no USB ports on this. And yeah, there's a network card in it, not like one that was installed after the factory, I'm sure. But you can't get that talking with Windows 3.1 or DOS without getting more information on it. He didn't have a floppy drive to be messing with it, so he thought, you know, maybe I could help out. He did try and burn some 98 discs, but they were not being read in DOS by this quad-speed CD-ROM. Interestingly enough, he brings it over. Everything works perfectly on it. I even dropped it. Bringing it into my office, I literally dropped it in an Amazon box onto the ground from like 2.5 feet in the air. So worried I was going to break something. I just broke the little plastic panel on the back of it and I fixed it. It's all good. But I loaded it up and the only error it had was that the CMOS battery was dead and I had to change it. And then once I did, I loaded up the year 2021 in it and it accepted it and it's been working flawlessly ever since. Well, as flawlessly as a computer of this era really could run. So he brings it over. I get a 95 disc. I get it all ready to go. I think this is going to be super easy, and it really turned out not to be. Windows 95 is not fun. I did get it installed, although the drivers weren't installed, and I was having a real hard time with reading burned discs in 95 because the discs I had burned were the wrong file system type. Yeah, so I formatted it the next day, put Windows 95 back on it, tried some things again. That didn't work. Formatted the next day, wound up putting 98 on it, which is what's on it now, all juiced up. And I used a bad image for that, so a bunch of stuff wasn't working. And it wasn't reading from the CD-ROM when it was looking for the driver information, even though the CD was in there. So I started all over again, and here we are 4 days later, and I have a wonderful working version of Windows 98 SE loaded on this thing on its original 2 gigabyte hard drive, sorry, with 70 megabytes of RAM. This has been upgraded with a network card and a lot of RAM, and that's about it. And it's set up and ready to play some games. It's pretty cool. So one last little anecdote. It came with all of its stuff, even its original manuals and its original discs, but not 95. And that's because, although this is actually has a build date in here of June or July of 1995, and 95 came out in August, Windows 95, it doesn't have 95 on it because Microsoft and IBM didn't agree to put 95 on these systems or any systems until like the day before Windows 95 launched. So this is a very interesting, very early first generation IBM Aptiva that doesn't have a Windows 95 sticker on it, didn't ship with Windows 95 on it, and it's like we were having legal troubles non-95 version of this that came with Windows 3.1, and it would have been sold alongside its contemporaries that had Windows 95 pre-installed, so this would have been a hard sell, but nevertheless it was sold here in North Bay, Ontario, or somewhere around here in Canada, and someone had it for a very long time because the original girl that sold this computer, I did talk to her on, Kijiji when she was selling it. She has a homework in all of the discs. This like weirdly labeled French disc right here. And when I looked at the contents of the disc, there's literally homework on it from 2005. She was using this computer in 2005 to do an essay in French on child abuse. So that's pretty crazy. That's pretty cool. So it's all loaded up. It's all said and done. Windows 98's on it. much easier to work with than 95. And I've even got some silly software on there like Napster is on here. I know it doesn't connect to anything. If you want to connect here, we'll cancel. If we go up here and go connect, it just says unable to resolve Napster.com. And the network the card is working and it's plugged on to the internet right now, even though that's probably a really bad idea. I just thought it was funny to install Napster. I actually tried to install Bonsai Buddy, but I couldn't get it to install. It's like one of the things I would have put on a computer of this era. And then I do have the original version of Napster on here, or sorry, of Winamp. And I did want to illustrate something that I had a problem with my 75 megahertz computer, but this computer doesn't have that problem. When you would play an MP3, you know, really whips the llama's ass. If I so much as moved the mouse, well, see, it gets kind of slow there. That's some of my original music from that era. The Jizza, or like Nas, or like Method Man. The Rock Wilder, or maybe... Oh, here we go! Alright, before we get copyright strike, I remember downloading, I think from GeoCity sites, these MP3s, like these might even be these very MP3s. They're from my music collection that I kept for a very long time. Probably not though, but anyways, I remember loading them in Winamp on my 75 megahertz computer that probably still had like 16 megabytes of RAM. And if you so much as moved the mouse, the MP3 would stop playing. So this one's a little bit faster, probably due to the amount of memory that it has. But I thought I was going to get that nostalgia of like barely being able to just play an MP3 on a 75 megahertz computer. But no, it does it fairly well. As for games, well, let's find out. Okay, so here it is, and this is Windows 98, and yeah, I apologize, there's probably some sort of refresh rate on the screen. Anyway, so I was gonna put Bonsai Buddy on here, but I couldn't download, I don't know, the right one. Here we go, we're gonna play Need for Speed. Oh, maybe I should have put, the CD in there. Alright, Need for Speed 2 Special Edition. And I definitely had this game and remember it not running worth a damn on my 75 megahertz computer when this game is only from 2 years after this came out. But by then, by 1997, there were, you know, Pentium 133s, there was essentially a speed double going on. So that really made it so if you bought a computer in like 95, you weren't playing games from later on, you know, for 2 years later on the same computer without some sort of compromises. You see, I'm interlaced here, and yeah, this is exactly how I remember this game running on this computer. I remember I got the game from my friend, and I was so disappointed because I think he had a much better computer at the time. We were always kind of behind on the computer is, so yeah, we're playing here, and I mean, oh, we're rubbing is racing. We're running at a very low resolution here, and I can't get it to go any higher. But this is a cinematic 10 frames a second, maybe, if you're lucky. This is terrible. So this is Need for Speed on a 75 megahertz computer with S3 graphics, and it has 78 megs of RAM or 80 megs of RAM. Oh yeah, flip that bitch. Yeah, this is too slow to play, but I played the crap out of this when I was a kid. Alright, so the next game we're going to play is Quake 2, and this will definitely be taxing this computer, I will assume. But we'll see if it even runs at all on this computer. I'm not too sure. Oh, ID. Loading. Alright, here we go. This is Quake 2 on the Pentium 75 megahertz running in OpenGL. Oh yeah, that's a little bit better. Oh no, it's not. This looks terrible. This is not looking good. Yeah, this is something like, this is what you might have done back in the day. Sorry, so loud. So here's Quake 2 running on the Pentium 75, and I never played Quake 2 on my 75 megahertz, but I mean, this is looking pretty terrible considering. Oh yeah, shoot you in the face. Oh, we killed him. Get back. Oh, he's behind me. Get him. This is running absolute. This is like RTX over here. This is. It's not dark or anything. The CRT has no glare on it. Oh, it should have been the face. It's running though. It's running half decently considering. I don't know. Let's see if we can find something a little bit more this computer's speed. All right, SimCity 2000. Ooh, definitely played me some SimCity back in the day. Got Software Toys by Maxis. So yeah, we could you know, bulldoze some stuff. I don't even remember how to play this game. And we could add some trees maybe. Oh, we're adding trees. There we go. Maybe a little bit of a railroad. There we go. We need to build a railroad. So SimCity's working just fine on this, obviously. I mean, this is not very graphically intensive, but I'm not going to build a whole city for you, but this is something we would have done back in the day. This is pretty fun. All right, are you ready for the next game? Because this is going to be a treat. Because this is one of my favorite games. I rented the system. It originally came on a bunch of times, even though everyone was saying the PlayStation was better. Here we go. Are you ready for it? It's going to be grand. And it's running really well.
Gentlemen,
start your engines. There we go. Rolling fast. Look at that, like 5 frames a second. That is just awesome. That's amazing. Here we go. Rolling start. It's taking extra long because of how fast this computer is. I think my mom bought it for me at the, we used to have this store called Byway, which was like a really big discount store around here. And they had like bins of like CD-ROM games and old stuff, and I believe I bought it there. Yeah, I'm not even like rolling. Why am I going so slow? So the last thing I wanted to show here was I always installed these off the Windows 98 CD. The Monster Truck Madness trial, the Motocross Madness trial, the Microsoft Pinball Arcade trial, and Golf. I don't know, we'll just load up Monster Truck Madness because, I mean, it's always a fun time.
This is Army Armstrong. Are you ready for the trial version of Monster Truck Madness 2?
Alright, so here's Monster Truck Madness 2, which is probably expecting Pentium 133. But at the lowest graphics settings, let's see if we can at least race around a little bit. I believe I played this on my 75 megahertz, but it's gonna look like crap. Let's see. Oh yeah, like a 1 frame a second here. This is, yep, this is what I remember, dude. This is what I remember. Ah! Oh my god, this is not drivable. I definitely played this game exactly like this for like hours, man. Woo! So thank you so much for watching my video on the IBM Aptiva. I hope you had as much fun as I did. This was a extreme trip down memory lane for me. I mean, the 386 playing around with that's cool, but there's so much more you can do with this era of computer, even if it's frustrating and takes days to do. It was really, you know, the first computer that I really dived deep into, you know, reinstalling Windows, upgrading, you know, going on the internet with, and really solidified my love of computers and tech back in 1996 or 7 or whatever. And it's interesting comparing this to now. You know, you bought this in 95. By 98 it was completely obsolete as far as like gaming and stuff. You could still do productivity on it, as we saw. This girl had been doing homework on it, I think, until 2005. So, you know, productivity wise it could still get some work done. But as far as gaming wise, like if you bought a computer 3 years ago, it better damn well still play video games now. But this thing here, 3 years later, and it can't even play Monster Truck Madness or Windows Golf. So it's like, and this thing's upgraded with RAM and, quite a bit of RAM and stuff like that. So things were really snowballing like crazy, and it was a really good learner PC for me. And if I have anything to say, it would be that it's probably better to get like a Pentium 233 for this era of computing. You'll get a lot more gaming done and stuff with that era of computer, or maybe even going a little bit beyond that to like a 500 megahertz Pentium 3 or something like that, because you could probably still cover all your bases hardware-wise, backwards compatibility-wise, to actually play the the actual hardware and with the software and stuff like that. But I don't know. It's up for debate whether or not this is the great computer to have for retro gaming, but it was a lot of fun to do, and I thank Edwin for letting me, borrow it. Well, he paid for it. He ponied up and paid for it. So I'm at Watch Timmy on Instagram and Twitter. Thanks to all these Patreons that are Patreoning me. It's February 2021, and I promise I'm all about the YouTube videos from here on out. Yes, we're not letting anything stopping us from here on out. I'm feeling better, I'm feeling healthy, we're gonna hit some weight loss, and this is gonna be a good month, I can tell already, with this being the first video. Oh wait, I'll tell you why it's gonna be a good month. Yes, later on in the channel. No, this isn't a 3880, no, this isn't a 3070. No, this isn't a 6800 XT or 6800. This is a 6900 XT! Woo! So I'm super looking forward to playing with this. And thanks for everyone for watching the channel. Thanks to the Patreons. I've talked to you on Patreon. If you want to subscribe there, you'll get your name in the credits, and it'll help me make more videos. I'm going that way, I think, instead of ads. I'm still up for debate if I'm gonna do more ads or not. I hate doing ads, but we'll see. I don't know. We need money to fund a channel. So I'm gonna watch Timmy on Instagram and Twitter. IBM Aptiva, you're an amazing little beauty. I must say goodbye to you now, but I gotta say I'm kind of tired of working on you, so you can go on your merry way. Thanks very much for watching. Keep it sleazy.